Hey Jeff, this is Bill. You'd ask about the Sponson Baitwells in my Maverick, 88 Maverick Deluxe. Um, this would have been so impossible to type, so I thought I would do a quick video. So for the Deluxe, obviously, this is the real transom here, and the sponsons extend back. Originally, these sponson areas, this was like really thin 1/4 inch fiberglass. In fact, for this power pole mount here, there used to be a 2-inch tubular steel brace that the actual power pole mounted to on the backside, and it ran through and mounted to the legitimate transom of the boat. So it would give you structural rigidity for the stresses of the power pole. Far as water goes, this boat had seen a lot of weird usage in the past. Prior to me getting it, it was definitely used as a charter boat for a live bait fisherman. And what they had done is they had simply drilled a whole bunch, because again, this was all 1/4 inch on the bottom and 1/4 inch fiberglass here, nothing really structural. And they had drilled a ton, like 10 different holes through the bottom on both sides of these, both sponsons, so that you got like free water flow. And it was so annoying. I'm an artificial fisherman. I do live bait fish, but very infrequently, mostly for grouper and snapper. When I'm pursuing things like snook, redfish, trout, tarpon, whatever, I'm actually doing artificial. So I was carrying water around with me all the time because these things flooded. They also had put a 4-inch service hatch, an above the waterline service hatch, like you might put to get to the bottom of your trolling motor or get to wiring. And forgive me, my boat is very dirty. I used it this weekend and I didn't wash it because I got home late. So there was nothing I could do to keep this dry, and it annoyed me to death. So there is actually an intake underneath here, right there. And that intake goes to a pipe, and this mirrored on the other side, exactly the same. And you can get free water flow by simply turning open that valve, and this will fill up. And there's a vent here that comes out here. So you can get free water flow, but with the petcock or the ball valve closed, it's dry in here. It's a wet locker. It doesn't, you'll see the water run straight down the lip here. Water just comes right inside with rain or with splash, whereas your typical equipment locker hatches are guttered and the gutter gets the water away. So these are wet hatches. I use this one for garbage. I use this for all of my plugs and such, and I use it to put the cast net in here when I'm done with it. This one over here, you'll see I got my lunch hook. I use that on the back when I'm hooking up to a beach in a traditional way. So I keep, in summertime when we're going to do a lot of hitting the beach, I keep my lunch hook in here so it's ready to go, and the cast net's in here. So this is a wet locker now, but it's great for bait. Now the second thing is you'll see this port here and the tubing, and there's a tsunami bait pump in here with its own screen under the bilge area. And so with that, and that also was a ball valve seacock configuration. So if you open that up, water will flow through here, and you've also got a button on the dash that you can turn on. So if you got something in here that needs a lot of aeration, like greenbacks, sardines, you know, pilchards, whatever, you can flow water through here. It will fill this all the way up. It will drain out here, out the side, and I do that. There are certain types of bait that need tons and tons and tons of fresh water. And so I'll run that, and that's how it rolls. Now what we did do here is we cored this. When I had the whole cap done, we sealed this in, so I only get water in these, other than drip and drain. I only get water in these when I ask for water, by either opening that ball valve on either side or by turning on the pump. And so we cored this, so this is now a legitimate transom. So you'll notice there's nothing bracing for the Lencos and nothing bracing for this. So this whole system here now has been fully cored out to be effectively a second transom. So you can mount all your gadgets on here that need structural rigidity. I mounted my swim platform, the ladder onto the holding platform when I had it fabricated. But you could mount the ladder to here if you wanted to. I like it here because it was out of the way and kept the ladder out of the way of the trim tab, so nobody used the trim tab as a step. So big thing here was coring this when we had all that work done, and so I only get water in here, any volume of water, I only get water in here when I want it, which is good because again, I don't use a lot of live bait. I will use this for culling trout. If I'm going to get trout, sheep's head, or mangrove snapper, if I get into some of those and I think, I might keep some, but I only want to keep them if I can catch, say, 4 or 5, right? You're catching 15-inch mangrove snapper. A meal is going to be about 4 or 5. So I'll fill this thing up, and then I will put fish in here, and then if I get enough, then I'll keep them. If not, I'll release them. I also use it for culling trout. I like a trout to be, 17 to 19 inches. So if I catch a 16-inch trout or 16-inch trout, I'll hold on to it, and then I'll release it if I don't get a better one. Keep it if I don't get a better one, or I'll release it. Depends on what you run into. The last thing is, what do you do if you've been culling on the water and this is full of water and you're going to go do some other stuff now? What I did was, since you don't have a stem like a modern bait well system, I had retired an older bilge pump that had a built-in float. And so what I did is I put that bilge pump on a stem, a lead with the alligator clips, and I drop it down in there. So if I filled this all the way up and used it for bait or used it to cull fish, and I'm ready to end that phase and I want to go and I don't want to carry 15-20 gallons of seawater with me, I'll put that bilge pump down in there, clamp it on there, evacuate this thing to get rid of all that weight, and off I go. So I have a spare bilge pump for safety reasons, but I also use it to drain these. It's actually really, really fast way to drain these if you had used them for bait and you're now no longer wanting to use them. So that would have been hard to type up, so I thought I'd put it together in a video for you. And I really like the way this works now. It's very versatile, and I don't drag water weight around with me. Hope this helps.